Welcome to the Think Realty webinar series. Today, we're going to welcome in Angela Barleen from iFocus Marketing. She is going to be talking about real estate investors and lending guide to digital marketing. Couple of housekeeping items for you. Just so you know, we'll be sending out the recording for everybody afterwards. So if you missed something, you can go back and watch and get all the information that you're wanting out of it. And also, this is going to be a little bit different from our normal webinar series. So this is going to be fully interactive. So you can put questions in the chat throughout the session. She'll be stopping at points during the session and asking if anybody has questions. So you can kind of be on point and on topic during the presentation. So definitely put those questions in the chat. So with that, we'll turn it over to Angela. Angela, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I appreciate the opportunity, and hello to everybody that has joined us today. So as he said, my name is Angela Barleen. I am with iFocus Marketing. Just to kind of go over the agenda today, a little refresher of the bullet points you saw in the promos. We're going to be, after a brief introduction, we're going to talk about why digital marketing is such an important part of any marketing plan for any business. Talk a little bit about something I like to call the marketing relay. Then move on to how you can evaluate your own digital marketing presence. How are you measuring up to your competitors? How do you know, how your brand is holding up in that digital universe? And then lastly, we're going to go over some core digital strategies and an overview on what's what and why it's important. And as he said, I really would want to encourage everybody to please feel free to ask questions as we go through each of these key areas of the presentation. I don't want you to forget your question. And sometimes it's easier to ask it in the moment. So I will definitely pause for questions throughout. So first of all, just a brief introduction about me. I'm with iFocus Marketing. We are a full service digital marketing agency that really prides itself on providing boutique service for our clients. We've been around since 2016, and we're located in Overland Park, Kansas. We design and execute customized digital marketing strategies for a really wide variety of clients, both here in the Kansas City area, in the Midwest region, and even all over the United States. Some of our industries that we work with do include real estate investment, investing, multifamily real estate, insurance, home service, architecture, private aviation, some nonprofits, and several other industries as well. We're currently engaging with about 75 multi-service client relationships. And we also have some additional strategic partnerships like that, like the one we have with Think Realty as well. So to start off, why is digital marketing important? Why are we even having this webinar in the first place? And the first reason is, number one, visibility and availability. Did you guys know that on any given day, we are exposed to anywhere between 5,000 and 10,000 different ads, 10,000 different ads every single day. And I bet you didn't even realize that, but we're completely inundated. So making sure that your business and your brand stands out from that clutter is now more important than ever. And it's really important to meet those consumers where they're at, and where they're at is online. If you just think about your own behavior, what is the first thing that you do when you hear about a business or when you want an answer to a question? Most likely you are going to your phone or you're going to your laptop and you're Googling for a search result. You're searching for something and Google gives you the answer, right? Instant gratification. So it's not shocking that 90% of customer journeys are actually starting online. 9 out of 10 people, the very first time they're going to interact with your brand, it's going to be online, whether that's through your website, your social media platform, your maybe a digital ad that you're running. 90% of people, that's where it's going to start. So it's really, really important that at the end of the day, you are visible and available whenever that prospective customer is looking for what you have to offer. Bottom line, digital marketing connects you with the right prospects at the right time. Reason number 2, having a strong digital online presence helps make your brand relevant. And when you talk about relevancy, you want to make sure that when somebody's looking for you, again, you want to make sure that you're showing up, right? If they go to look for you and they can't find you online, that's going to hurt your credibility. So the more content and the more presence you have, whether that's, again, you showing up in a search engine, showing up in the maps section, showing up in LinkedIn when somebody's looking for your company, that's going to provide a huge amount of credibility to a prospect, especially when they haven't had the opportunity of a formal introduction to you yet. If you think about it, even if you get a referral, if somebody refers a client to you, the first thing they're going to do is go to your website anyway. They're likely going to do that before they even pick up the phone to call you. And part of that relevancy comes with the content that you're putting out there. Content is the ideal way to establish your expertise in your industry, in the eyes of those prospective customers. So you really want to make sure, and you want to evaluate the type of content that you're putting out there, whether it's the content on your website, whether it's the content that you're posting in social media posts, or if it's a blog or an article, or if it's a newsletter that you're sending out there. All of that content, whether it's entertaining, educational, or informative, the bottom line is it needs to create value for those prospective customers in order for it to help add that credibility. And the last reason is relationships. Online marketing helps build and nurture relationships with new customers and with existing customers both. So we just talked about how 90% of customer journeys are starting online. So because of that, it really is almost inevitable that the first touch point a prospective customer is going to have with your brand is going to occur online. It makes sense. Like I said, even if you get a referral, they're probably going to go to your website first. So it's really, really important that that first touch point is perfect and that it actually is something that you are proud of, right? Making sure that whatever perception your brand has online matches the perception of the brand that you want it in reality. Okay. So, and that perception is going to start the second they interact with your website, the second they interact with your social channel, the second they interact with anything. So you need to really think about those things as a way of, this is my way of communicating with people. I'm putting this content out there. I'm giving people a way to contact me directly. So doing things like responding to form fills on your website, or responding to comments in your Facebook feed or on your LinkedIn page. It's really, really important to do that because that's a reflection of your relationship with that customer. And once you get a new customer, you can utilize digital marketing to help nurture the relationship, whether that's through, maybe it's a newsletter, maybe it's ongoing email communication, the content that you're putting out there on a regular basis through blogs or through social media posts. All of those things are going to help to continue to nurture that relationship. Does anybody have any questions about digital marketing, just in general, why it's important? I assume everybody here understands why it's important, or you probably wouldn't have signed up for this webinar today. Do we have any questions in the chat since I can't see it? I guess we're good.
Not as of yet.
Okay, perfect. So the next topic is a little thing I like to call the marketing relay. And at iFocus Marketing, this is really kind of a peek behind the curtain at our philosophy as an agency. And what we've learned is there are definitely different types of marketing, be it digital marketing or any other type of marketing for that matter, that are best utilized to reach people at different stages of that purchase cycle. So if you look at the purchase cycle like a race, where the beginning of the race is the point where the consumer doesn't know anything about your brand, and the end of the race is the point where they're actually purchasing your product or service. there's a lot of key points along the way that they're going to go through before they end up making a purchase from you. And if you look at it in terms of a relay race, it's going to be really important that you're training each leg of that relay in order to win the race. So in terms of marketing, like I said, there are different tactics of marketing that are best utilized to reach people at different stages of this race. And it's really important that you're investing in all the different stages of the cycle. And these stages include things like brand awareness, the research phase, where they've kind of decided they're ready to start maybe investing in real estate, but they need to do some more research first. The lead generation phase. This is when somebody's made the decision that they're going to move forward. They just need to figure out who they're going to do it with, or they're ready to make that purchase right now. And then, of course, the important part, retention. This is where we're talking about continually nurturing customers, getting them to come back to you another time, or getting them to stay with you over time and build that loyalty. And if you look at the different tactics that match up with these, brand awareness, jumped a little bit too far ahead there. Brand awareness are things like anything that would reach the masses. This could be a billboard you see on the highway. It could be a television commercial you see on the nightly news. It could be display advertising, like those banner ads that you see on your computer or on your cell phone when you're on the Weather Channel app. Research phase includes anything that you would see maybe in content marketing, maybe articles that you're reading online or on somebody's website. It could be the listings that you see in a search engine when you go to search for a business. Lead generation, this is going to be anytime you see a paid ad in a search engine, that is a lead generation tactic. People that click on those ads are already in market right now for your product or service. So those are the lead generators, and they're going to provide the fastest ROI that you can get, because again, you're already reaching that in-market audience with those ads. And then in the retention, those are going to be anything like, again, email marketing, any kind of retargeting that you do to retarget people that have already been to your site and you're trying to get them to come back. Those are going to be your retargeting tactics. So again, the most effective marketing plans are going to be utilizing tactics in each one of these key buckets of tactics. Does anybody have any questions about the relay? One of the things that I hear a lot in my experience in working with just a wide variety of clients, oftentimes people think that something like social media content, just organic social media content that they post on their page, a lot of times people think that that's going to give them direct leads. And the truth is, on its own, it's probably not going to, because things like social media content really fall more in the retention and the research phase, or maybe even in the brand awareness phase. Those platforms are enabling you to sort of showcase your personality of your brand. They're not really meant to draw people in instantly. Any questions about that?
No questions as of now.
Okay. Awesome. I'm going to move on to the digital evaluation. So what I'm going to go over here are 5 checkpoints that you can utilize to check your business's digital presence as a whole. How, like, basically seeing how you're measuring up, what your visibility looks like. So you can kind of see where the gaps are and where you might need to do some work. So the first thing you can do is checking your visibility in what we'd call Google known search. And what known search means is what happens when you go to Google and you type in your business by name. You're going to go to that Google search engine, type in your business by name, and check out, evaluate what you're seeing. Do you have a Google My Business listing? Is it showing up? Is it optimized? If you don't know what Google My Business is, that is the little section in the top right-hand corner on your desktop, or it should be like not very far down on the screen if you pull it up on your phone. This includes all your pertinent business information, your phone number, your website, your address, your hours of operation. It should also include an image of your business. And if properly optimized, it should also include additional images or other things that you can fill in to enhance your business profile to help consumers understand what it is that you do. You also need to see if your website appears at the top of the search results page. It should, right? Because you typed in your business name. Are there other business names like yours that are showing up ahead of you? You should be first in known search. You should be at the top of the page. The other thing you want to look at are all the other listings on the page relevant to your services? They should be. I mean, you should make sure that your category of business is pulling up among other categories of business. And then lastly, are there any other competitors showing up when you type in your name? Ideally, there shouldn't be, because if there are competitors showing up, it means that they might be paying Google to show up ahead of you and steal that audience away from you. Anybody that's looking for you, they show up and they could take those clicks away from your site. The second thing you want to do is the reverse of that, which is Google unknown search. So we talked a little bit earlier about how important it is to have that online visibility, because search engines can help match your brand. They basically help you find the prospect at the exact time when they're looking for you. So in an unknown search, you're going to be wanting to type in keywords, not your name, but any keywords that would be relevant to your product or service. So maybe it's type in real estate investment near me, or manage property management companies near me. You want to type in those type of searches that are relevant to what you offer and see if you're showing up for those searches. That is the audience that you're going to capture that doesn't know your name, but they need your product or service. So when you look at that, you're going to look at kind of the same thing. Does your business appear at the top of the page? If you're not appearing at the top of the page, where are you showing up? Do you have to leave page 1 of Google to find your listing? Do you appear in the Google Maps section? So the Maps section is automatically going to pull in relevant businesses that are close to wherever you are, thanks to that awesome GPS component in our phones. If you are close to your business should be showing up. And if it's not, that's an optimization thing that needs to be addressed. And then lastly, who are the top 2 or 3 businesses that are ranking alongside of you, or that are ranking at all when you type in those terms? Those are going to be your main competitors. So if you type in real estate investing near me and 3 or 4 people show up, those are the people that are getting that business, because they are showing up, they are visible and available to people that are typing in those type of search terms. Number 3, the website, your online storefront. I can't tell you what an important piece of the digital marketing puzzle your website is. A lot of times people will overlook their website because they're not recognizing it as the marketing tool that it could and should be for your business. So when you look at your website, you need to evaluate several things. First of all, you need to make sure that the site is appealing to the target audience that you're wanting to visit the site. Does it match the image of your brand as a whole? Is it portraying the image that you want it to, that matches up with the values of your business, even the aesthetic of your business, your colors, all those things? Secondly, does it clearly communicate to the visitors of your site what it is that you do? Is it obvious the second they land on your homepage exactly what goods or services you provide, or what problems that you'll solve for those users? Thirdly, you need to evaluate your calls to action. So when they go to your site, are you providing a clear path for that prospect to do business with you from the website? And what I mean by a call to action is, when you go to those websites and you see the little buttons that say learn more, or download our real estate investment guide or those type of things, or fill out a contact form. Those are all examples of calls to action. And what they're doing is they are leading the visitors of your website down a path to contact you directly, to kind of take them to the next step in the sales cycle. So you want to make sure it's as easy as possible for people to get in contact with you. When I go to a phone number on your site, I should be able to hover over that number with my cursor and click to call you. Most of your business is going to come from a mobile device, or most of your traffic rather is going to come from a mobile device. So you need to make sure that your website looks just as good on your phone as it does on your laptop. Super important. Those are just modern amenities on websites that people expect and really add to a positive user experience. Number 4, you want to make sure that all the links to your social pages are working. Easily overlooked, but folks, links break. You may have originally had those things hooked up to your Facebook page and your LinkedIn page, but over time, quirky things can happen and links can break, and they just need to be re-added. So go through your site every once in a while. Make sure that when you click on a Facebook link or you click on a LinkedIn link or a Twitter or whatever, make sure it's going to the right page. And if you don't have your social links on there, make sure that you add those, because you want it to be a seamless transition for a consumer to navigate your website and then go and continue their research on your social pages as well. And then lastly, are you adding and refreshing the content to your website on a regular basis? This goes back to the point of how important it is to create valuable content and relevancy for those prospects on a regular basis. You want to always be continually establishing yourself as an expert in your industry, both in the eyes of your prospects, your existing customers, and in the eyes of search engines. Google loves fresh content. And the fact is, the more new content that you're constantly adding to your site, the more that the better your image is going to be in the eyes of Google. You want to make sure the best way to do this is going to be posting blogs on your site on a monthly basis. Again, these are educational things, topical things that have to do with your business that would be valuable for your customers to know. You can also do this by adding and refreshing photos that you have on your site, all of those different types of things. Whoops, I just skipped right through. Sorry about that. The 4th thing you want to check is your social media. What platforms are you active on? And most importantly, are those platforms that you're active on appropriate for the audience that you're trying to reach? I wouldn't necessarily recommend TikTok unless you're trying to reach a demographic that is age 12 to say 25 or 12 to 30. If you're trying to reach a consumer that is 35 to 50, you want to utilize a platform like Facebook. If it's more female focused, you want to make sure that you're including Instagram. Know the demographics of the social platforms that you're on and make sure that they match the audience you're trying to reach. Obviously, LinkedIn is going to be a platform that reaches more business decision makers. So that's always appropriate for B2B interactions. You also want to look at how often you're posting and what does the quality of your content look like. Ideally, you should be posting at least 3 to 5 times a week. And the best way to do this is plan out a social content calendar and then just implement it every single month. But the best way to engage your followers is to post often and post a nice variety of content. And thirdly, you want to really evaluate what kind of engagement rate you're getting on your posts. Engagement signals quality, and it signals that what you're posting is actually valuable to your followers. What you want to shoot for is an average engagement rate of 1 to 3% on average. And what that means is 1 to 3% of your total followers. So if you have 100 followers on your Facebook page, you want to average at least 1 to 3 reactions for every single post that you do. So whether that's a like, a comment, or a share, all of those count as engagements. You want to make sure that that's healthy between 1% and 3%. And then the final thing that you want to look at is just your industry research. You're obviously going to get a copy of this, but I've listed several different resources here that are available for you to sort of get a benchmark for your industry and digital marketing as a whole. So you can find out what's normal. How much traffic should I be getting? How many conversions should I be getting a month? What's normal for my industry? There's just a wide variety of tools out there, and a lot of tools too to kind of show you what the trends are in digital marketing, what's new, what's different, what's changing. So I encourage you to make sure that you're always doing that industry research to see how you're measuring up and maybe what you might need to tweak moving forward. Does anybody have any questions about our digital evaluation 5-step check?
No questions at this point.
Terrific. All right, now I'm going to move into the core digital strategies. So goodness knows there are literally thousands of different tactics and marketing strategies out there in just the digital world specifically. And one of the questions I get constantly is, I don't understand what I should be doing to reach these specific objectives. Or a client might put all their eggs in one basket instead of spreading it out and trying different multi-channel strategies to sort of, put it all together. So I'm going to go through the core marketing strategies that really should provide the proper digital marketing foundation for your business, regardless of what those goals look like. The first one is Google marketing. So within Google, there are really two different types of opportunities. There's paid placement, and there's what we would call organic placement. So paid placement in a Google search is going to be anything that's at the very top of the page, typically in the first 1 to 4 positions. And you'll notice up in the top left-hand corner of these listings, there's going to be a little ad notation. That means somebody paid to be there. The analogy I like to use for this is it's like renting real estate on page 1 of Google. You could have the worst website in the world, but if you pay to be there, you're going to show up instantly because it's based on an auction, and you pay to get there. More than 80% of Google's total revenue comes from advertisers that pay for these ads. So they work. It's a great way to get instant visibility online. Instantly. The other opportunity for placement is in the organic section. So organic listings are going to be anything underneath the paid section that are things like your map listings. Google My Business is considered organic, and anything else that doesn't have an ad icon next to it. The way that you rank organically is based, whether or not you rank organically is based on the content that you have on your website. So the way this works, anytime a consumer goes to Google and types in a search, Google is automatically, the algorithms start working, and they are indexing your website to find out if you are a fit for the search terms that this consumer has just typed into that search bar. If your website has the right content that matches up with the search, Google will make you show up organically on the page. 80% of people will click on organic listings, and only 20% are going to click on a paid ad. Is it important to be in both places? Possibly. It depends on your goal. But the fact is, the majority of people are going to click on an organic placement ad. And that is where the organic traffic that you get to your website, those people are most likely to convert, meaning they are most likely to become a prospect or customer for your business. Does anybody have any questions about Google placement? The analogy that I like to use for this is a house, right? Paid search is like renting a house, a fully furnished house on page 1 of Google. You get there instantly. You don't have to build it. You don't have to, take out a loan. It's instant. Whereas organic visibility is more like paying a mortgage and buying a home. You get there by it's a marathon, not a sprint. There's nothing instant about it. You earn your place on page 1 of Google by nurturing the content that you have on your website and making sure that it's indexable and friendly for search engines to find you and make you show up. Any questions about that?
None at this point.
Okay. So in talking about that ever important organic placement, it's challenging, right? It's very difficult to maintain organic visibility, but it is so, so important. And in the long run for your business, it's going to pay off for you because, again, you're earning your place. You're not having to pay to show up there every time. It's basically free to show up there as long as you have the right content on the site. The way that you maintain that organic visibility in search engines is through something called search engine optimization, which some of you may recognize as SEO marketing. The purpose of SEO, again, is to maintain the visibility of your website from an organic standpoint in search engines. And it includes lots of different strategies. Number one is updating the content on your website on a regular basis. Typically, this is done through something like blogging on your site, adding fresh blogs every single month that utilize the keywords that people are searching for in search engines to help identify your products and services. So when you write the blogs, it's equally important to make sure that you're strategic about the keywords that you use in those blogs so that you start showing up organically and ranking for the things that are important for your business. Again, as I mentioned before, organic traffic is typically the highest quality traffic that you're going to get to your website because it's reaching an audience that is already in market for your product or service. And they are in that research phase, right? They are ready to learn more about your business specifically. And you're shaping your brand's expertise in this industry for them. Whenever they go to your site, that is where they're going to find the content and the answers to their questions. And so this automatically boosts your brand's credibility and it frames you as an expert in the minds of that prospect. So there's lots of different things that go into SEO. Content development is one of them. There's also quite a bit of back-end website work that oftentimes needs to be done through coding and things of that nature that can help improve the visibility in search engines as well. The other tactic in Google marketing is going to be paid search or pay-per-click. This is how you get that top of page ad placement that we talked about. Paid search drives traffic with users that are, again, in market for your product or service. 20% of people are going to click on a paid ad and not an organic ad. So 20% of all the searches that are happening, they're clicking right there at the top of the page. So if you are in a hurry to start getting leads, paid search is probably a great option for you. You just need to make sure that when they get to your website, it's easy for them to convert. It's easy for them to take that next step so that they complete that sales process, that sales cycle. The way that paid search works is by an auction. So again, tying in those Google algorithms, it's a live bidding environment. It's bidding on, and whoever bids the highest amount of dollars on that particular search term wins, and that's who shows up. And then it just goes down the chain. So the highest bidder, second highest bidder, third highest bidder for those paid ad placements. Anybody have any questions on Google marketing? Nothing now.
No questions at this point.
Okay, so the next foundational digital marketing tactic is going to be your social media strategies. So there are two types of social media strategies that you can implement. The first is social content management. And this is going to be anything that you post on your own to your business's, social pages, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, whatever. Anything that you're posting on an ongoing basis that is meant for the people that follow your page to see, that's going to be social content management. As I mentioned before, this is a super important nurturing tactic, and it's an outstanding way to demonstrate the personality of your brand. It's the ideal platform for that, because people are going to get to know who you are by virtue of the type of things, the type of content that you're posting. The platform also allows for you to directly interact with consumers, whether this is while they're already a customer or whether they're a prospect that has questions. They can do these things through, messaging you on Facebook, or maybe responding with a comment to something that you posted. But it's a vital direct line of communication with this audience. It can also drive traffic to your website, depending on the type of content. Maybe you have a new blog or a new newsletter that you just posted to your site, to your website. You might utilize that content or a little snippet of that content in a social post that you're doing to help drive people back to your website to finish reading that full blog. It also is a great place to reach people because it's a platform. These social platforms are a place where people spend a lot of their time. So it's a great place to help keep your brand top of mind. And as I mentioned before, best practice for social management is to make sure that you're posting a variety of content. It's not all one thing. You can't blast them with sales opportunities every single post that you do. You have to mix it up. So it's a mix of promotional, informational, or educational, and engagement-driven posts. So that mix of content and then posting often, 3 to 5 times a week, is definitely the secret to success on these platforms. The other part of social media marketing is going to be true social media advertising campaigns, which you can implement on just about any platform: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. The benefit of social ad campaigns is that they will actually reach an audience that you cannot reach on your platform alone. So it expands that reach beyond your existing followers. It can help you gain new followers to your pages. And it can also help you, again, drive more traffic to your website by targeting an audience that you're trying to reach. These platforms have an infinite number of targeting capabilities within them that enable you to really narrow the pool. So for instance, if I want somebody to give me an example of decision makers that they're trying to target. Can you have them ask them to can you guys put that in the chat? Give me an example of business, like the type of decision makers that you're looking for, maybe from a business to business standpoint. Is anybody putting anything in the chat?
Still waiting.
Okay. I can give you kind of a generic example. So if someone is targeting,
I would say the biggest target is going to be real estate investors.
Okay.
A lot of them are business owners as well, CEOs.
Okay.
So targeting those would be very important for most of the people on the call.
So the way that you can target them, and there are different categories. It kind of varies per platform, but you can actually build an audience that meets several different criteria. Those criteria could be interest in real estate investment. You can factor in household income or net worth. Maybe you don't want to target somebody that is not an accredited investor. There are levels that we can make sure that we target to make sure that you're only reaching, the message is only going to reach people that are qualified investors for you. We can obviously target by geography. You can target by, I mentioned household income, but interest level is really important. Chances are if somebody is following other pages that have to do with passive investment, but passive investment income or real estate investment specifically, chances are they're a pretty good prospect for you. And we can build audience segments to target with ads specific to your business. So it's pretty awesome. It provides a really great return on that investment. And you can see that clearly in the reporting, what's working and what's not. The other great strategy that you can use on social platforms is utilize the database that you already have. If you have access to a database full of email lists or even company names, we can target companies specifically on LinkedIn. We can target all the employees of different companies. We can target by job title. And again, you can target by interests on LinkedIn as well. There's lots of different ways to target. And we've seen it be really, really effective for our clients. The last sort of foundational thing is something that we call display advertising. So display advertising, it just in its simplest form, these are like banner ads that you see whenever you're online. So, you know, maybe you've been shopping for patio furniture this summer and you looked at a patio furniture set on some website, but you didn't buy it. And now you're going about your day, looking at other websites, but that patio set keeps showing up wherever you go. You keep seeing ads for that patio set on the other websites that you're visiting. That is display advertising. Specifically, that's retargeting display advertising. And it's a really amazing tactic. So targeted display takes many, many forms, but the bottom line is it's basically finding your target customer online, finding them wherever they are, and serving them an ad for your business. So if you want to think of it as what we like to say, it's kind of like an online billboard, but instead of like picking on the highway where you're going to put that billboard, you're actually controlling who drives by that billboard and sees it. So kind of the reverse marketing approach. So we're finding the audience for you and then putting your ad in front of them. This can include things like geofencing, addressable targeting, connected TV, that's streaming TV. You know, a lot of us don't use cable anymore, but we use the internet. We can serve ads through streaming television. Event targeting, website retargeting, like the patio furniture example I just gave you, and then programmatic video. Programmatic video is just like regular display advertising, but instead of having a static ad, it's actually going to be a video that plays. One of the tactics that you can engage in through Think Realty is geofencing. If you've ever heard of geofencing, geofencing is a way that allows advertisers to serve location-based ads to a group of people that are in a certain space. So practical applications of this, let's say there is a real estate convention going on, and it's for real estate investors specifically. Let's say you're going to be there and you're going to have a booth for your business. So you're going to have the opportunity to engage with those customers face to face during the weekend of a convention. If you wanted to, you could also implement a geofencing tactic that would enable you to reach those the visitors of that conference for 30 days after they've been at the conference through ads that they get right here on their phone. The way that works is we basically put an imaginary targeting fence around that convention center, and we collect all of the device IDs that cross through that imaginary fence at the convention center throughout the course of that weekend. And then we utilize those addresses that we have from their phones and whatever to serve ads to all of those attendees for the next 30 days. after the event has taken place. So it's a really great way to sort of leverage that engagement that you already had with them during the event, or even if you can't be there, you can still capture and reach those people with your message. You don't have to be on site for us to do that geofencing. The other tactic that we can use, and I love this tactic because it can be used in two different ways, is called curated addressable targeting. With this, we're actually going to be using first-party demographic and psychographic data to target people at the specific household level with ads for your company. So going back to the targeting thing, if you are only looking to reach accredited investors that have an interest in real estate investing or have an interest in investing in general, and you want to reach them all in one area, let's say you're looking at, Kansas City, we can actually, with the data that we have access to, curate a campaign that will enable you to reach everybody in Kansas City that meets those specific criteria. And we will serve ads to them via their phone, their laptop, any connected device they have in their home. We will be able to serve them specifically at the household level. So we don't even have to target an entire street. If one person on the street is interested in investing and their neighbor is not, we have the capability to target only the person that's interested in investing. So the benefit of this, of course, is that you're reaching a more qualified audience with less waste. In addition to this, if you have a list, if you have an address list, if you have paid for some kind of a marketing list that includes physical addresses, we can implement this tactic to target those physical addresses in this exact same way. Very powerful way to build frequency and build brand awareness for your company with these prospects. Again, this is a brand awareness tactic. And the goal of this tactic is to drive people back to your website later. If you think about whenever you see these ads on your phone, maybe you are standing in line at the grocery store waiting to check out, and you're going through your feed and you go to you go to your ESPN app, or you go to the weather app and you're multitasking. You might see an ad that comes up and it's relevant to you. Why? Because you've been targeted based on your interests. Are you going to click on that ad right then and there while you're standing in line at the grocery store? Probably not, because you're not in the market or in the mode to do that right at that point. But since that ad is relevant to you, you're probably going to remember it, and you might be inclined to go back and search up that advertiser later. So if I get an ad, I'm just going to use Think Realty as an example. If I get an ad for Think Realty, oh, I didn't know there was a resource like that out there. I might go back later and either type in thinkrealty.com directly, or I might just known search for Think Realty and then go to their website directly from a search engine. So the key performance metric we look at for these types of display campaigns is not how many clicks we get through directly from those ads, but how many people end up coming back to the website later to engage with the content that you have to offer. And that is super important. The last and most important, I think one of the most important foundational digital tactics is website retargeting. Now, as I said before, this is a type of digital display advertising. The difference is website retargeting depends on a user having already visited your website at some point. So the way this is accomplished is we place a pixel on your website that essentially captures the visitor's information so that we're able to then target them with ads after they leave your site, like the patio furniture example I mentioned earlier. So the beauty of this is that it enables you to nurture those relationships. And retargeting ads have actually been known to help increase conversion rates by as much as 12%. So it's definitely a tactic that's worth implementing and is really super important in that purchase cycle. So once the website, just to kind of give you an idea of how this works, once the website user visits the site, they leave your site. Let's say they're going and they're going to research a competitor, they're going to move on with their day. Step 3 is going to be, they will see your ad following them to that next website. And then they're going to be like, oh yeah, I do want to go back and finish researching that. And they'll click on that ad and ideally go back to your site. So you're getting to get in front of them again and getting another visit to your site from that prospect. And this is something that you can also engage with through our partners at Think Realty. And not only can you do it from if you have enough traffic to your website and you want to engage in retargeting, but we've also got a program where you can retarget the visitors of the Think Realty website back to your site. So you can take advantage of the audience that's going to the Think Realty website and then target those visitors with ads for your business. Lastly, I wanted to talk about creative. Obviously, it's important to stand out with creative that makes an impact. And these are just some examples of kind of best practices to utilize when you're doing creative. We will do creative for our clients. However, sometimes people like to implement that themselves, or they have an in-house creative team. But incorporating movement is helpful. It catches the eye. Making sure that you have one clear message is also super important. You don't want to overwhelm. Remember, they have a split second to see this ad. So you don't want to overwhelm anyone with too much information. It should be one clear, concise message. And then lastly, sometimes small movements, but keeping that ad moving in an animated fashion also catches the eye. And it might encourage them to look at the ad longer so that they don't miss anything, or they rewatch it to see what they missed before. So that really concludes the foundational core digital marketing tactics that I wanted to talk about, and really concludes the rest of our presentation for Digital Marketing 101. I want to thank everybody for their time today and for listening. Hopefully you found value in this information. And if you are interested in learning more about any of the tactics that we talked about today, or if you're interested in receiving a complimentary digital audit for your business, I encourage you to please reach out to our friend Rodney Halford over at Think Realty. His contact information is on the screen right now, and he can get you fixed up. Does anybody have are there any other questions, any questions that came up in the chat during that last section?
Angela, one that came up, I already answered her directly, but she asked if she could get the presentation that you just presented. So
Yes.
If you could send that over to me, I will make sure everybody gets it so they have a good presentation and can kind of follow along.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to do that. Awesome.
Was there any other questions for Angela while we have her? All righty. Well, thank you again, Angela. Thank you for doing this, and we will get this over to everybody as soon as possible.
Awesome. It was my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
All right.
Everybody have a beautiful day.